So some great news came out. Ali Abdelaziz, Rumble Johnson's manager, has come out and officially said that Rumble Johnson will be back in 2020. He even, I think, stated a more targeted date of March. Now, Rumble doesn't have a fight or anything like that, but Rumble has to come back. There's a process, which now involves entering the USADA testing pool, of which for him would be 4 months. Must sit in the pool for 4 months. And that's before he gets it going. That isn't snap your fingers in an overnight thing. So, whenever he enters the pool, let's say he's within there in the next 30 days. So what's today? It's almost September. Let's say he's in by August. So August, September, October, November, right? You see. And then he goes into a training camp, works an opponent out. There's just a few things to where he can't come back right away. But that's very exciting for a few reasons. Now, I will tell you, heavyweight, I've always thought was Rumble's best weight. Rumble was one of those guys who, when he was fighting at 170, he was awesome, but you could tell he'd be better bigger. When he got to 185, he was awesome, but you could tell he would do better bigger. He skipped over 205, went straight into heavyweight on the regional circuit. And he had great fights. I was there in person when he fought Andrei Arlovsky, but he never had anybody go even kind of close with him. I mean, he just ran guys over. Then when he returned, he dropped down to 205, went on his run, 2 different title fights. We get it. I will tell you, though, it was mixed review. Now that I get what I want, I've always wanted him at heavyweight. Now that I get what I want, I can't help but go, you still have a little unfinished business at 205 pounds. And he would roll right into that division, the top contender, if not the number one contender, right? So, but I like him at heavyweight. I still love the parity. I still love the matchups there. I love his striking ability. I don't see these heavyweights taking him down. Now they're stuck on their feet with him. That's never been a good recipe. I don't know if anybody's ever beaten Rumble Johnson standing on their feet with him. I don't know, but I'd have to go back and look. I like him at heavyweight. I want to see him there. Welcome back. Don't know why he ever left in the first place, but welcome back, Rumble. And as far as the heavyweight goes, look, I'm aware that Stipe and Daniel will have whatever business they have upcoming settled by then. Wherever Jones fits into it's all going to be settled by then. I get it. But let's still have a little bit of fun, right? We just got some news. Rumble's coming back. Rumble's a fan favorite. We love Rumble. So let's just imagine that it's today's landscape and he fits in the pit. Where do you want him? Look, you've got to give him a top guy. He's one of those guys with the way that he fights. You cannot give him a 8, 9, and 10, 11, and 12. Forget that. It's unsafe. You have to put a top fighter in there who knows how to protect himself if you're going to bring Rumble back. He's one of those guys. He's too dangerous. You got to give him a top guy. So look at today's landscape. You want to know what would be fun? You could throw him in there with Ngannou, right? Not rocket science by Chael to do that matchmaking, but just imagine the match. Imagine two guys that look like they're carved out of stone walk in there against one another, and we all know full well the deal, regardless of what the contract says. We're going to stand up and we're going to throw punches at each other, right? Oh, and by the way, we're both really good at landing punches on our opponents. So that would be a fun fight. Verdum is going to be back at some point. Now, I would have to look, but I believe Verdum's not back until May. So I think you could probably take Verdum out of that. But after a win, and probably only one win, particularly the way the heavyweight division looks right now, where they are dying for somebody who can garner attention and fog a mirror all at the same time, he's one win away from fighting for the belt. Which, if we're looking at today's standards, means he's a win away from being in there with Stipe. Now, that's an interesting match. You got the power of Rumble. What are you going to make believe you don't have power from Stipe? Come on. Come on. Anybody that made believe that, you got set straight. But you've also got an ability for him to duck and dodge and deal with some of those punches and deal with some of those strikes and deal with some of those abilities. That's a fun match. And I will give you one. This will catch you guys a little bit off guard, but it will solve the problem. Look, the one thing about Rumble coming back at heavyweight, it means we don't get to see him at 205, which means we don't get to see him with Jon Jones. And we were promised that fight at one point, right? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson even came out and said, I think Jon Jones is a great fighter, but Rumble Johnson is going to beat him. Just to remind you guys of the time and how exciting it was when it looked like that fight was going to happen. So if Jon moves up by then, right? Unlikely, but possible. I mean, at some point, Jon Jones is going to get tired of fighting in unsold out crowds, and he's going to have to do something courageous. He's going to have to come out there and go after a fight, right? He's going to have to go out, and this champ thing is a real thing. And Jon is a really talented guy. But he also went from being the number one fighter in the world, pound for pound, to being called, well, a really good light heavyweight. Because he's not taking some of those risks. And by the way, I never bury Jon. I don't feel that I bury Jon Jones. I really don't. And maybe I'm a little bit rough on Jon. I don't know about that. I mean, he is a guy that, man, that guy's really good. I guess you would call that a level of respect. But it seems as though every time I do a piece on this, somebody takes like a small piece of it and tells Jon what I said, and then Jon has to go to Twitter. Jon's got to type out these lines and show that he's angry. I mean, he does this all the time. I kind of sit back and go, nah, I'm not really sure you heard the piece. And I can only imagine Jon Jones licking the coke off his fingers to like type out these lines in 160 characters. And then he wants a response from me. It's like, Jon, here's my response. I appreciate you typing out lines, and I would rather see you type lines than snort them.